Hola, buenos días a todos. Gracias por asistir. Agradecemos a los compañeros de nuestro centro, a Juan, a Yolanda y a otros compañeros y a vosotros por vuestra presencia aquí. Hoy vamos a realizar una charla de emprendedurismo a cargo de John McGowan de Irlanda. Viene de una empresa de Irlanda. Algunos de vosotros habéis estado haciendo algún job shadowing en la academia Northwest Academy. Y nada, daros la bienvenida y gracias. La retransmisión de esta conferencia se va a hacer en streaming, por lo cual os pedimos por favor silencio, que atendáis, que preguntéis lo que sea necesario después al final y se os va a dar un certificado de asistencia a la charla. ¿De acuerdo? Pues ahora pasamos al director que nos va a abrir el acto.
Bien, buenos días a todas y a todos. Bueno, yo un poco reiterar lo que ha dicho Elena, que es la coordinadora, con Verónica, es la coordinadora de Erasmus de nuestro centro. Y nada, pues daros la bienvenida a este acto. Esperamos que lo aprovechéis, que sea de utilidad para vosotros. Y eso es que aquí el Departamento de Erasmus trabaja para que podáis ir a países europeos a hacer vuestras prácticas, y es una experiencia muy interesante. Y bueno, también agradecer a la escuela Noche Botella, que colabora estrechamente con nosotros. Muchas gracias, llevamos varios años colaborando con ellos, la verdad es que es muy interesante, porque hemos hecho muchas movilidades con ellos. Y nada, también a John, por la charla que nos ofrecerá hoy. Y bueno, espero que aprovechéis la jornada, que sea muy interesante y que saquéis un buen provecho de ella. Bueno, bienvenidos y que vaya todo muy bien. Pasamos ya la palabra a John. Sí. Bueno, John, pues adelante, bienvenido.
Good afternoon. My name is John McGowan. Normally, when you put a microphone in front of an Irishman, he probably sings. But today, we're not going to do that. Well, maybe at the end, who knows. I was asked to speak today to this group of people about entrepreneurship. Now, first thing, can you understand me okay? Yeah? Give it 5 minutes. The Irish accent is not maybe what you're used to in terms of BBC English, but after 5 minutes, I think you'll understand. So what do I do and why am I here? First of all, I should say I'm from the northwest of Ireland. And Ireland's quite an interesting place at the moment because our neighbours in the United Kingdom are having a lot of fun at the moment in terms of politics. And all of this affects business. So we're watching every day with popcorn, wondering what's going to happen next. But in this region of Ireland that I live in, you can see in this slide some of the buildings that some people may recognise. What I should say is that Ireland is very entrepreneurial. We really have a good economy, a better economy in the south than in the north, but we have a lot of investment, but also a lot of small businesses. And one of the things I do in Ireland is I try to encourage people like yourself to start a business. Now, going back to when I was your age, I remember going to one of these events at the university. I was 18, and I was bored. I was very bored because I thought, well, this isn't really for me. I want to get a job. I want to get a career. I want to meet a girl. I want to get a house. I want to buy a car. All these things were things that I was thinking about at your age. I was thinking, you know, when I finish university, I'm going to work for somebody else. I'm going to try and get promoted. And that's what my plan was. And I think John Lennon or somebody said that life is a thing that happens whenever you're waiting for the plan to work out. So that plan didn't go so well for me. I started out working, and then very quickly started my own business, so I combined the two. So I'll take you in a wee story of the day, and then hopefully maybe get some people thinking about what they might do in the future more than anything else. That's a wee bit about me. I'm CEO of a local enterprise agency. And the best way to describe a local enterprise agency is something that's set up by government in a region to encourage young people and older people to start a business. The one that we have is right on the border of the north of Ireland and the south. And the location means that we get a lot of people, both sides of the border, who want to locate their business in the north. We also have around 65,000 square feet of space. I use the word feet. We still use feet in Ireland. I think it's meters in Europe. That's about 50 small units and around 50 offices. So if someone wants to start a business, they can locate themselves there and they'll pay so much rent in the first few years. The word entrepreneur, I told someone, is not a word I use about myself. I've never met anyone who runs a business who calls himself an entrepreneur. It's a very academic word. We would probably say we're a business owner or a business person, but it's a word that you commonly hear on the press and media. But most self-respecting business people would not introduce themselves as I am an entrepreneur. Very often the people who say it aren't really business people, I find. I also do a bit of journalism. It started out just writing a column, an economics column, about 20 years ago. And then I went to the Euros when Ireland qualified, and I ended up doing a sports column from Poland and from France. And now I still write occasionally articles about enterprise or about business. And also I've put down there politician. I don't know what happened, but I think I bumped my head about a year ago, and for about 10 years I was being asked to enter politics, and I really had no desire or ambition to do that. But a lot of things have changed in Ireland since Brexit. A lot of things have changed in Ireland in the last number of years. So my political party that I'm a part of is, we are in government now in the north of Ireland, and we are the opposition in the south, but we are currently the largest party on both sides of the island. So I think after Brexit, a lot of people in Ireland decided that maybe Ireland being one country is a much better idea. And the last thing here, I'm a singer. I made a CD here in Campanile, very closely here. I was here during COVID, me and my family, so I was bored, and a friend of mine put it in Spotify. But I think everybody in Ireland likes to think they can sing. So if you ever come to Ireland, you'll hear lots of people singing, quite often well, but maybe not so well with a few beer. But it's part of our culture in Ireland, music and song, and people like to think that they're John Travolta when they're drunk and out with friends. So there's a wee bit about the company. I started working in this company straight out of university. I was 23, 22. In Ireland, we go to university at 18, and we finish at 22, 21. And then when I was 25, I became the CEO. I know I was very ambitious then. Probably not a nice person, but I always say that I had a clear plan, and probably looking back, I was very ambitious. And we, as you can see, we specialize in the whole area of enterprise development. What that means is, if a student or a young person or anyone comes to us and says, I've been working as a mechanic and my boss is treating me very bad, or the factory is closing down, I was thinking of starting up myself. We do everything. We do a business plan, we find them premises, we find them any government aid that may be available, And we also provide them with training and loans. And that happens every week. When people come with various reasons, they've been away working somewhere, they've seen something that they feel would work in Spain or Ireland, and they come along and they talk to our people and they move it forward from there. And across Ireland, there's a number of these agencies, so we all work together. And then in 2004, we opened up a business park on the border, and it's now completely filled. We have completed phase 2. Phase 3 will be done by the end of October this year. So it's only a few weeks for the next phase to finish. That's a lot of information. But what we do is, what I'm talking about today, we try to encourage people for whatever reason. And we're going to look at some reasons. They think about being an entrepreneur. Hate that word. It's a French word, but we use it all the time. And as I said, when I sat in the same room that you're sitting in the way back, I'm 53 now, so it was when there were black and white TVs, not that old, but when we sat in that room, I remember what was said, and it was said by a banker. And as I grew older, I realised that I don't really take advice from banks anymore. I don't think anybody should take too much advice of bankers, unless they're in banking a long, long time. But in Ireland, most of our bankers are very young now, because their banks are all changed. But 30 years ago, the bank was a good source of information. Now it's a source of money. But I remember sitting in the room thinking, nah, get a job, safe job, work for the government, maybe be a teacher, maybe be an architect, maybe be just work in marketing was my thing. I wanted to work in marketing. Didn't know what it meant, but it sounded very, very good. I watched TV programs, I heard marketing people wearing suits and making big decisions. I thought, that sounds good, I can do that. And I went to university, did a business degree, specialised in marketing, and then left thinking, right, let's get a job in marketing, but ended up working in economic development. So, and that's the sort of things we do. We help in enterprise support. It's for people starting up. We also promote social enterprises as well. Cooperatives. We do some customer service training as well for hotels. And then also we do feasibility studies and plans. And consultancy would be where someone maybe is thinking of developing a new product or taking over another company, and you have to look at the advantages of doing that. Right, this is just my own views now. The other stuff is all the normal. There's a lot of universities in Ireland who try to teach entrepreneurship. I don't think you can teach it. I think the only thing you can hope to do is maybe to flip a switch in someone's head. But like one of those Stephen King novels where you lift the phone and someone says a certain word and you turn into a complete lunatic. Well, you know, I've always found that the people that I meet who are business owners, they probably didn't know when they were born, but this was going to be their thing. This was going to be what they were going to do. And how long it takes you to get there is really up to you. Some people I know start a business when they're 45. Some start a business now in Ireland just straight after college or university. But what I will say is that more and more young people are doing it because it's much easier now. Go back to when I was your age, if I wanted to start a company to manufacture whiskey, I had to go and borrow lots and lots of money, and then if I wanted to export it, I had to go do loads of research and get on airplanes and go and meet people, and I still have to do that. But now a lot of younger people who are very savvy with the internet and with social media are starting many small firms because we're very much more connected. It's much easier now to start a business and have a physical presence online and be global than it was when I was your age. You know, we used to spend thousands of pounds on brochures and many exhibitions and things like this. So, you know, things have changed considerably. And I use that word latent on entrepreneurs, because in this room, statistically, there's a number of people in this room that are going to at some stage, and you might remember this Irishman talking one Friday morning when this happens, but at some stage in your life, people in this room are going to start a business. You probably don't know that yet. You probably are sitting thinking, is it me? Because I remember a professor at the university saying there's 3 types of people. And he said there's people that make things happen, and there's people that things happen to, and then there's people who say, what happened? And we're always trying to put ourselves in those categories. So there's people in this room that, through whatever choice, they're going to start a business. Don't know when, might be soon, might be in a few years' time. And then you've got to ask yourself a question, and all of these things when you're thinking about this, you know, who wants to be their own boss? Who wants to decide what they do and how they do it? Because many people in business that I meet will say, if you start your own business and you like doing what you do, it's not really a job. And in Ireland, we call it the Sunday night syndrome, where people every Sunday night say, oh, I have work tomorrow. They hate work. Now, it's not to say if you run your own business, you don't have bad days. That's true. But you decide the good and bad days. So if you end up starting a business and you do something you like, it stops becoming work, it becomes something else. And that's what I always say to people. And the last point, it's probably in your DNA, you don't know yet. Something will trigger it. And we will look at some of those later on, what will trigger it. And in terms of being an entrepreneur or being a business owner or thinking about it, you know, you do need ambition. You do need to see yourself being able to do it first of all. Now remember, lots of people will say, what do you know? You're no good at that. Sometimes those people are your family. I remember when I started the language school, the first thing people said, what do you know about languages? Because I am terrible at learning languages. When we were doing languages in school, French and Irish and Latin, I just couldn't understand. Maths, no problem. Physics, give me that any day. Even English, no issues. But for some reason, my mind just said, can't. I remember the teacher saying, no, are you listening? Okay. So there are some people, whenever they heard I started an English language school, they said, well, what do you know? And I said, I don't need to know languages, I just need to know how to teach English. But the amount of friends that would have said to me, well done, he's no chance. So your biggest critics can sometimes be your friends and family. So you need ambition, you need to go above that. You need to be somebody that if they decide they're going to run 10K in under 45 minutes, then if you're the person that keeps training until you do that, then you've got ambition, you set yourself a target, you meet it. And in business, you need to do that. You need to be ambitious, but you also need to set yourself goals. I have a group of friends, and 3 or 4 of them run their own business. And there's other people who are very content to be told what to do and get paid every month. Just tell me what to do, just pay me into that bank account. I don't care about anything else. So we're not all the same. And then there's other people who are always looking to do something extra, make a bit more money, be a bit more ambitious. And that's the sort of people that move slowly towards being their own boss. You've got to be willing to put the hours on and work. I've been in a couple of, I've been lucky enough to play with really good musicians. And the one thing about every good musician I've ever played with is they always practice, they always put the time on, or they're naturally gifted. So there's nothing easy. So sometimes I'll meet a business person and they'll say, oh, I'm starting a website company or I'm doing a graphic design. Won't work unless they work harder than they would doing anything else. So if you're the sort of person that likes to relax, to do the soap operas, do the social media, walk a dog, have your social network, it's probably not for you right now. Because whenever you do decide to do it, it takes a lot of time. And working 12 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week in the first few years is normal. And that scares most people, but you don't switch off when you own the business. You've got to be willing to take a risk. Because you need to borrow money, you need to employ people. You know, that all takes risk. So if you're someone that's saying, oh, I don't know, you don't want to buy, I'm not sure, it's probably not for you. It's not a bad thing. Not everybody can be a business owner, but you've got to be willing. Your personality has got to be one that's willing to take a risk with your own money and with other people's money. Because the bank lends you money, it's your money when they lend it, but you have to take a risk. You've also got to be selfish. Does everyone in Spanish, I don't know, you understand what the word selfish means? And I mean that if you're in a relationship, if you have a family, if you've got friends, you've got to be selfish because the business will take a lot of your time. So people have got to understand that. You might miss a few birthday parties. You might miss quite a few. But you've also got to be selfish with your time. Because people will waste your time when you're in business and you can't waste time when you're starting. I was with a guy the other day, he runs a games company in Ireland, and I asked him to meet me about something. We were doing some work on a Ukrainian charity he runs, and he said, you know, he charges $3,000 an hour for his time online when people want to talk to him about developing a new game. And it's because he has to be selfish. Because you'd spend so much time talking to people, and his time is very valuable. So ask any husband of a female entrepreneur, or ask any wife of a male entrepreneur. They can be selfish with their time. They see things different. Dealing with pressure is another one. Sometimes when I would have confided over the years with my friends about some of the decisions I was making, the view was, how do you do that? How can you deal with that? I don't know. I think people who decide to run their own business, the level of pressure you begin to deal with becomes, your sensitivity towards that reduces. So things that might terrorize people in this room are easy decisions. Like you might need to fire someone that you really know a long time. There's pressure. You might need to borrow money, take a risk. You know, most people do that when they buy a home, but entrepreneurs or business owners take a lot of pressure on the staff, the sales, the government regulations, so many different things. And COVID put everybody in this room under severe pressure. Talk to business people, it was like a nightmare on Elm Street. Because the world just stopped, you had people to pay. And I see many businesses just collapse and have to rebuild. We had to do that with the school. We knew what we had to do, we just got back and kept doing what we were doing before. But some people can't deal with pressure. If you're someone that doesn't deal with pressure, fine. And by the way, I know some business owners that are terrorized about going to the dentist. That's a different type of pressure or worry. And I know some business owners that pressure for them is going to a birthday party. They don't like certain things. This type of pressure is different in business. This is about taking responsibility for paying people and borrowing money and putting your name on documents for loans, etc. They know they communicate, they know they write, they know they listen, they know they speak. I had a really good business idea one time, and the person just was so nervous. I just knew before they tried it, this isn't going to work. They just have no communication skills. So if you get into a business where it's about communicating, make sure you or get someone who can communicate. And later on, we'll look at a number of entrepreneurs, and you can see that you don't always have to be the best communicator, but you really need to get someone early in the business that is. And for example, Bill Gates was definitely not as good a communicator as Steve Jobs, but Bill Gates had people around him that were. So it doesn't always mean you can't. It means that you need to get the second person on's got to be the communicator. And the last thing you need to inspire, what I mean by that, I don't mean that you're able to get people to march off to war or fight for you, but you do need people to follow you. You need to walk onto a bank and get money. The bank needs to be inspired by what you say. They need to believe you. And if you're starting a business, you need the staff who you employ to believe that you know what you're doing. And I do meet some good business people, and that's the thing they improve very quickly. In the beginning, they're not so inspirational, but people work for people that they like, they work for people they respect, and they work for people that they believe know what it is they're saying. So you need to be a wee bit charismatic in that way. So people always say, years ago we used to run workshops like this, and we used to say, okay, let's try to develop some business ideas. It never works. It can get people thinking, but it doesn't work. And ideas about what you might do, this is where life comes along. Because in life, certain situations will put you in a position where you might decide to do this. Just on that, what I mean by that is, how many people know someone that during COVID was just thrown out the door or put on furlough? In Ireland, we call it furlough. In Ireland, we had a lot of people who just found that their job just stopped happening. No, a lot of taxi drivers, there was nobody to take in a taxi because in Ireland, everything's shut down. And I've spoken to hundreds of people whose job, they just said, I'm not doing that job anymore because during COVID, I didn't get any money. Things were tough. And they went out and they changed career. And a lot of them became self-employed. They went into something that they thought, you know what, next time I'm going to be better prepared. So that's one of the things we have found in Ireland after COVID. More and more people from different backgrounds have thought about doing something for themselves. And they've left certain industry. The ones in Ireland that have lost a lot of people are hospitality and taxi drivers, airports, things like that. People just said, that job didn't pay so great, I need to do something different. And the amount of people we've had that have come in now and became self-employed from those sectors has been huge. So pros and cons, what's the good and bad things? If you do become your own boss, it's not really like a job. It is a lot of pressure, but you're your boss. So you've got to be someone that knows how to motivate yourself. And what I mean by that, you can't stay at home until 12:30 and decide to go into the office. You've got to be able to manage your time. You can earn a lot of money. There's many pros about this. If you do something you enjoy, it's going to help yourself. It's going to help your whole work-life balance. I mean, I know a couple of musicians who are self-employed. They love music. They play music at weddings. They play music in bars and restaurants. Life is good. They do something they really enjoy. I also know people who work in games. They own their own games company. They play games as a child. They're still a child at 30. There's still a lot of men, a lot of girls now. Game consoles now, you actually keep them through your life. You don't sort of, they're not children's toys anymore. But this guy runs a games company. Going to work for him, going to play games, test games. It's great. He loves it. The other, and you can start thinking about these yourself. On the con side, as you are likely to be more stressed if you run your own firm. There's no doubt about it. As I said earlier, a lot of my friends, they go to work on a Monday, they finish on a Friday, their phone does not ring, they don't need to deal with anything over the weekend. They have 4 weeks a year or 6 weeks a year holidays. Life is just on a conveyor belt. Everything's organized. That suits some people. But the entrepreneur or the business owner wants maybe more than that. But the cons is you can lose a lot of money, you can be more stressed. You can deal with the stress by various ways, which we'll talk about. But you can also, the last one, you can lose family and friends. A lot of people starting a business will employ their family and friends. I always say don't. If you can avoid it, try not to. Why? Because you might have to fire your brother or your family and your friends. If you trust them, do it. But family, yes. If you know them, I think you should know your family if you've grown up with them. But with friends, it's difficult. I've had to fire people that I went to their wedding and I went to their christening and their kids because it just had to be done for whatever reason. So, and they maybe never appreciate why you made that decision. But when you're a business owner, you make the decision for the business. It's not, as they say in the Italian movies, it's nothing personal, it's just business. And some people will not do like that. Your friends will not appreciate that. They will think that you should keep employing them even when you can't. There's 3 entrepreneurs I think everybody knows. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs. Very different people. Everybody thinks it's one personality. How would I describe Bill Gates? Bill Gates is a professor. He's an absolute genius. Seen how computing would change, develop software. But he wouldn't inspire you, but he's a very honest person. Gives all his money to charity, made lots of money. But he was smart enough to know what his skills were. He's seen the product. He was one of the engineers, one of the developers. But if you were in a room with Bill Gates and you didn't know him, you wouldn't be inspired. You would be inspired by what he does in terms of charity. But he's a different type of animal, the Elon Musk. Elon Musk has had a lot of business failures as well. His first 4 rockets, I think, crashed. His cars, when he took the deposits for the first Teslas, he couldn't stop them catching fire. So he's a dreamer, he's a fantasist, some people say. He's very much, you'll watch various documentaries about him. Some people will say he inspires, some people will say he's very megalomaniac, he's very driven, very ambitious. He's very ambitious, that's for sure. And he's the second richest man in the world now, which is strange in a way because he sells electric cars, small amounts of electric cars. His wealth is based on share price. And then we've got the animal of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs wasn't a designer. Steve Jobs walked into the room and says, I want music on a phone, I don't know how to do it, you do it. Bill Wozniak did all the designing, but Steve Jobs, for most people, young people, even middle-aged people, they think he was a great business person. Very inspirational, knew what people would pay money for. He'd walk in the room and say, I want a phone, $500, I want music on it, get it done. Drove people. But again, all 3 are very different people, different personalities, but all 3 work 70 hours a week. All 3 particularly Musk and Jobs, didn't have a great family life. Their family suffered for their ambition. And you know, Melinda and Bill Gates, they're no longer together, so you know, it can really exhaust you if you're going to keep driving yourself as an entrepreneur. What can Mickey become? What sort of things, what triggers can Mickey decide to do this? If your father or your mother or your uncle is in business, that can be, growing up with that around you can really help. So I meet a lot of people whose family were always business people, and then they suddenly see that path open up to them. Good thing about that, you might already have some money, you might already have some contacts. The company you keep, what does that mean? For me, it means if you hang around with people who don't want to improve themselves, you're not going to improve yourself. And everybody I know who's successful are terrified of their kids hanging around with people who do want to be better. Because the company you keep, if you look at your friends, if they've got ambition, it rubs off on you. You compete, we all compete. So what I notice about successful families and business, their kids always associate with kids who keep the ambition pretty high. So if you're thinking about doing this, look at the company you keep. Unemployment necessity. Your boss can tell you you're out, we're closing the factory, what do? You have a set of skills. Do you do it for yourself? This is a lot of the reasons that we get from people who start up. Unemployment with COVID has been a big driver in Ireland. I don't know about Spain. A global crisis. There was the financial global crisis. There's been COVID, now there's cost of living. These sort of crises are very bad, but from these crises that happen very often, people lie at night in bed awake looking at the ceiling, and you get a eureka moment. They say, I'm going to do something for myself. The accidental entrepreneur. What happens? People working with someone and they become part of the business because the person appreciates the work they do. And then something happens. The person working with them can decide to sell. They can die. It's terrible, it happens. Or they can just accidentally end up being a business owner. I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I didn't want to be in language school. It wasn't in my crystal ball. I placed, one of my jobs early on was placing unemployed graduates into companies. And one of the people that I placed in Dublin phoned me up and said, would you deal with a Leonardo da Vinci group? And I said, what's Leonardo da Vinci? They said, it's a European project. I said, no, not interested. And they said, why? I said, I don't know anything about it. And then after a cup of tea and a chat, I said, okay. And I tried it and I liked it. I thought this was easy to organize. And then Leonardo became Erasmus and the language school was born. So it was like an accidental, it was a turn in the road, it was a chance meeting with someone. But it wasn't a plan that I wrote on a page or wrote something on a piece of paper and put it on the wall and read it every day. It wasn't an inspirational video, it was just an accidental encounter. The other thing I say, it's in your DNA, that can be linked back to you are that person that wants to run the fastest. You want to captain the team. You want to push yourself forward. Your families, entrepreneurs. The last one, right place, right time. Second last one, you can just be in a factory and the factory boss decides to retire. You can be working in a hairdresser or graphic design company, and the next thing someone asks, do you want to buy the company? Do you want to take part in something? And the last one is traveling and observing. Because all these young people will hopefully travel and you see things and you think, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That would work here. It happens now, we don't even need to travel no more. Sometimes you just see it online. Sometimes you read about it in the magazine. So the amount of people I know that lived in Australia and came back and started an idea, or were in the United States and did the same thing. So traveling does open up things to your mind. I always give tips out to people. The first tip I give people is don't take criticism of someone you wouldn't ask for advice. Because you will get criticism of people. But always look at the person and say, when I take advice of them, if the answer is no, then don't take the criticism. If the answer is yes, then maybe listen. Do your research first. Think about what it is you might do and see if it is worth doing. Do research. Listen. Because we were given 2 ears and one mouth, and that means we listen a lot more than we speak. And that is often something that small business people don't do at the start. Because when you listen, you learn. When you talk, you're not listening. Always change and review everything you do every year. That's a life lesson. Look at how you're doing, and every year, set a time and look at it. In Ireland, we have this New Year resolution. Every 30th of December, everybody says, next year I'm going to lose 10 kilos, or next year I'm going to pass my French. And I think it's a good idea in business to do the same thing. Every year, spend one day reviewing what you're doing and how you're doing it. Is there a better way? Don't overstretch at the beginning. Some people just go crazy at something. Just put you can put 60 hours on, don't put 70, don't put 80. And they overstretch in terms of borrowing too much money or trying to grow too fast. And that can put a terrible prospect on the business. Have honest people around you who will tell you the truth. So don't surround yourself with people that just say you're great all the time. Donald Trump does that. Doesn't work out for him. Boris Johnson done that. When you surround yourself with people that think you're great, you're never going to have any honesty. Now, Elon Musk hates negativity. If anybody's negative, he throws them out, puts them out of the business for early. Being negative and being honest is two different things. And that moves on to keep the negative people away. If you find yourself working with people who are always complaining and always saying, I can't, you're not going to get anywhere. That's going to drag you and the business idea down. Reward loyalty. If someone's loyal, you have to reward them because they will leave you if you don't. They'll move to somebody else, or they will take your business idea if they're doing all the work and make it better. It happens so many times in companies that we know. Good startup companies, they don't reward the people doing the work. They leave, they set up, and it happens, particularly in the service sector, where there's no intellectual property like hairdressing or some beauty stuff, or even software graphic design. If you don't reward the people who are loyal, they will leave and they will cost you a lot of money. Take holidays, because if you don't, you will burn out. So try to set yourself every 3 months, switch off your phone and sit for 4 days and think, relax, don't answer emails, stuff like that, I know. But if you don't do it, you will just find yourself every year getting more tired and more tired. And do something to ease your brain stress, whatever that is. Run, climb, play football, swim, yoga, play in a band, wear leather trousers, sing in a rock and roll band, whatever it is. And it's no accident that the most successful people in the world do strange things. They don't do strange things to get on the cover of National Geographic. They do it because it's their release mechanism. It's something that's their thing. Taking singing lessons, taking acting lessons. Doesn't need to be, and you shouldn't care what people think. The amount of strange hobbies that I know that business owners have would drive you crazy. Fishing. You meet this girl or this guy who's very noisy, very ambitious, and they will sit on a river for 12 hours just waiting for a salmon. Ferment. Their brain ferments ideas. So it doesn't need to be something cool like yoga. It can be whatever it is that's your safe zone. And that's me. I don't want to keep it too long. I just wanted to give you a bit of an insight into how my brain thinks. As well as that, what I will say is, it's not something, if this doesn't appeal to you now, and it probably really shouldn't if you're 18, to be honest. But some people will be thinking, I hope, in the next couple of years about maybe what they could do for themselves and how they could go about doing that. And what I will say to them is that you do have to listen and do your research. Right? Those are important things. And also be careful who you take advice from. I said to someone the other day at the start, when I was your age, a wise man who's now dead told me that if bankers were so smart they'd be millionaires, and if economists were so smart they would be millionaires. But sometimes when you decide to start your own business, you listen, you take advice from many people, but you've got to go with your gut feeling. And, you know, as I got older, I realized that lots of people I knew in banks weren't these superheroes that I thought they were. And you do find yourself, you pass them in terms of your business acumen, because they know how to lend you money. And banks lend money to people who don't need it. Because people who really need money don't get money at banks. That sounds strange, but a bank will only lend money to someone that can pay it back. When you think about it, you wouldn't lend money to someone that can't pay it back. So most business people I know that are starting out, when they go to a bank for money, it's difficult. Because the bank's not interested in how good your idea is or how good your person is. They are in some aspect. But their main concern is, how can I get my money back? How can I get my money back? So many really good ideas take a longer to ferment because it's difficult to raise capital, but that's where you need the conviction to say, I'm going to stay with it. I'm involved in a charity company, and we've went from 30 staff to 70. We've an asset base of about 5 million. Our business park is the same, but they all started at 0. So we may be at 10, 12 million balance sheet worth now, but we started at 0. And the first person that loaned us money, we paid it back, and we built that up very slowly. But it's taken 20 years. So it's not something. And when I did this course or something like this about 12 years ago in Ireland, and I asked the kids, and I mean 17, 18-year-old young people, maybe not kids, they asked me a question. All they wanted to know was how much money I made and what car I drove, and you know, they were interested in the lifestyle. That's it. And that's, you know what, I accept that. The teacher had them all questions they ask, and you just knew it was a teacher's question. What was your profit in the first year? Nobody really wants to ask that question. They wanted to know, if I do this, can I make a lot of money? They have to work very hard. Yes to 2. Yes to both of those questions. Was that your car in the car park one of us? I said, yes, it is. Mister, how much did that cost to buy? So I think, you know, that's what young people are thinking about now. Job, house, career, where you're going to work, what you're going to do. You have a plan. And you can do it. I mean, you can achieve all that working for someone else, but you can do it working for yourself. It's just a different journey, and it's not for everybody in this room. So you just have to accept that things aren't going to happen as quick, unless you come up with some new software which allows you to pay online. Or there's a couple of guys in Ireland, Stripe they're called, who they were in the mid-20s, they were worth a couple of million each, because they come up with a piece of software which banks now use. So there is one of them every 10 years, but for most of us, it's going to be a long, slow journey to getting to where you have that financial security that you all want. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to try and answer. You know, no. Yeah.
What you recommend for a future? What do you recommend for a future empresario?
What I recommend? Entrepreneur.
To have a nation in order to be to have their own company.
Exactly. What's the question?
He wants to know what he can do in order to become an owner of the company.
Okay.
An entrepreneur.
Well, how old are you? 18, 16. Number one, start saving some money, right? Number two, read as much as you can widely about the type of person you need to be. What do you know the business idea?
What?
Do you have an idea?
Yeah, later.
Go work for free. Go work for free for your competitor. If you know someone else who's doing it, go and work for free. You will learn more working for someone who does it than you will reading any book. So when people say work for free, yeah, if you have to, if there's no job, go and volunteer. Don't tell them it's because you want to do the business idea. But the best way you can find out about a business is to work in that business. So, for example, I had a guy who wanted to be a tattoo artist 15 years ago. Tattoos in Ireland have always been very popular. I told him, go to London for 6 months, go and work in the best tattoo shop. He went and worked for free. Now he's got 15 staff. So it was a big outlay. He had to go and rent an apartment and spend money, and he worked in a bar at night. But he's now got 15 staff. He would never have learned anything about running. He found out about suppliers, he found out about just the whole business. He was only smell it and work on it. So I always say, if you've got an idea, if you know someone doing it, go and work for them. If you have to work for them for free, do it. If you have to volunteer, do it. Save money and read. And that should put you in a good position.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Don't know what happened to the microphone there. Uh-huh.
What was the toughest challenge you resolved and how you resolved it?
I suppose COVID, I mean, everything I'm involved in revolved around people. So prior to COVID, every time we give out business advice, we did it face to face. Every time we taught English language, people took an airplane and came to Ireland. So during COVID, 90% of what I was involved in just stopped. So we had to think how to do things different. With a lot of the businesses, we had to go online. We had to go online very quickly. So COVID was a big challenge for me. But 1 year after COVID, everything that we're doing is back stronger and better, more profitable, because we've changed the way we do things. We've reduced the number of staff. We do things differently. And in terms of workspace, everybody during COVID stayed, but after COVID, there's now been this huge demand to start a business. So the biggest challenge for me was, as we say, when the music stopped, when COVID kicked in, the music stopped for like a year in Ireland, everything ground to a halt. Spanish people don't really understand, but in Ireland, we closed everything. Closed the bars, closed the nightclubs, closed all the businesses. Nobody worked for 1 year. In Spain, everything stayed open. But in Ireland, we went into lockdowns. And it was pretty difficult time for a language school and for a business organisation. And for the, I have two hostels, we've now built on a third. We had to change from offering accommodation to tourists to offering accommodation to homeless people. So it's a big challenge, but we're back stronger after it. Okay, thank you. Good question. Anyone else? Please.
Bueno, pues lo primero agrair a John la seva intervenció i el poder estar així amb vosaltres. No, us demanen per favor que no se n'aneu perquè en 10 minuts és molt curtet, però és una intervenció de dos voluntaris que tenim des de l'escola que es donaran una presentació molt xicoteta i així ja podem acabar l'acte, si us sembla. És molt ràpid i us demanem per favor l'atenció. I a John, doncs res, donar-li les gràcies en nom de l'Escola Metge Botella i la col·laboració també del director del centre de l'Ausias Marc per esta oportunitat. Estos
Hello everyone. I will start different. Do you like vacations, like summer vacations with the friends in the beach, to drink some beers? It is not for us. Do you like, right? So imagine that, keep that feeling that you have when you are with your friends in the beach in the summer, and some learning from this experience. What I mean is, when you go for vacation with your friends, you have to deal with some things. You have to learn how to deal with things alone or to discuss some things with your friends. And keep that feeling, keep that feeling. My name is Christos. I'm volunteer here with the organization. I'm from Greece and I'm 25 years old. And
hi everyone, I'm Stefano, I'm from Italy, I'm 20. And I work both with the ESC and the La Escuela Metro Botella with my partner, Christos. That will explain more in depth what is everything about ESC and its volunteering programs, specific individual volunteering, which is the one we're doing right now. Work.
So, first of all, they can participate from 18 years old to 20 years old. It can be for 2 months until 12 months. And it's a full-time job, let's say, with many of these things. And also there is option that you can do it for shorter time, from 2 weeks until 2 months. And I suggest to you to, if you think about to do something like that abroad, to start with the shorter time, to see how it's going, the things, what they want from you, what you want from them, from the host and sending organization, that they are going to support you. The sending organization is the organization that is going to help you before the travel, before the trip, before this adventure. And the host organization is the organization that is going to help you in the country that you are going to do the job. It's very important, these two organizations, and really, they really help you, and they are there for you, whatever you want, they can help you. You can have some complete insurance if you go abroad. Maybe you have some difficulties, some let's say illness or COVID or whatever. So you have complete insurance So you are safe and you are going to have a bed in the hospital if something happens. And also they are giving you some linguistic help. It's a platform from European Union that helps you to learn some languages. And if you go, let's say, in Ireland, you're going to learn Irish or English? Irish, okay, English, sorry, English. Or for me here, I'm learning Spanish. Solo un poco hablo español. No, okay, no. Yes, and also the cost for the travel to go and come back to your country, they are going to pay you all. So the feeling that I said to you before, to do vacations with your friends and to be happy to have fun, and also to learn how to deal with some things, it's just like that, and it's for free. I mean, you go abroad, you make some new friends, you have fun, you learn with different way, with experience, you do things and you learn, and it's for free. I mean, you don't need to think about it, you just do it. It's completely perfect time for everyone. I have some experience to tell you if someone wants after the presentation. I keep going and I say that also they give you some pocket money, like every day is from 3 euros or until 6 euros. And yeah, I think you can live with these things, so it's for free. But if you want to do more things, I mean, to go every day to the cinema or to go every day to do things, okay, you need some more money, but you can live with this money. So you don't need to be rich or something to do that. And if you have specific needs, some disability, they can help you and they can cover all the things. The last point is that there are many programs that can fit to you. I mean, there are programs about the environment, about refugees, about enterprises, about a lot of things. You can find it. You can find your program through this quiz. It's in the European Solidarity Corps platform. And I have the link after this screen, this slide. And I suggest you to do the quiz to see what do you want to do. I did one volunteer in Finland for 2 weeks. It's about environment, and now I'm doing a share for 6 months. Completely different. It's work in the office, and I get some important life lessons with both of these programs. So I encourage you to start with something that you love and then to go something completely different to improve yourself and to see if you like it or not, because I had an idea that I don't like or I like and I'm doing, and now I know for sure. So the quiz is really, really good. And this is the link, the European Youth Portal. And there is an app that there are many countries there and they upload. See, you can take a picture because I show you. Nice. You can take a picture, or we can send you, or you can go to Alessia, to this organization, and help you to find what you want. And download this app. There are many organizations that they upload programs from Iceland, Irish, Greece, Spain, for all Europe. So if you like some country, want to share some country, it's useful. It's better than solo vacations. Thank you. In Spanish or English. No. It's all over here. Sorry if I confuse you. The summer was about to have the feeling how it is to do it. It's like summer all the time. No, it's all over here. You can find many programs from many organizations in this app. Okay, this question is a little bit difficult because it's confused. I thought that is under of the umbrella of Erasmus, but it is and it isn't. I don't know. I'm not sure. But doesn't matter for us. Matter for Alessia that do the writing and all the things. For us, it's just experience and amazing experience. You know,
¿Puedo decir algo?
Bueno, sí.
Quería añadir que la escuela es una entidad que puede enviar voluntarios al extranjero, así que si queréis ir, sí que podéis hablar con nosotros y podemos hacerlo.
Yo quería comentar una cosa. Esta conferencia, I'm going to speak in Spanish for better understanding. Esta conferencia que hemos hecho, lo hemos hecho bajo el programa Erasmus Plus de nuestro centro. Nosotros enviamos a alumnos de grado medio. Aquí estáis algunos de grado medio y algunos de grado superior. Entonces, los de grado medio los enviamos a través del consorcio que tenemos con el director, que es Germán Nando, y la Escuela Sindical de Formación Melchor Botella y el sindicato TPV. Y vosotros habéis podido disfrutar, o compañeros vuestros han podido disfrutar de job shadowings y de estancias formativas, tanto de 3 meses como de 1 mes, en la Northwest Academy que regenta John. Él os ha comentado que pues, no quería ser un profesor como los aquí presentes, pero entonces tuvo la idea, y seguramente estaría en su ADN, de construir esta academia de lenguas, y él recibe y da el acomodo a los estudiantes que vienen a través de este consorcio. En la escuela, ahora os lo va a comentar Germán, y el sindicato mueven más de 160 alumnos cada año. Y somos, si lo habéis visto en proyectos europeos, más de 20 institutos que formamos parte de este consorcio. Y lo que está explicando Christopher Jan Stefano es una acción voluntaria que si tenéis interés, nos lo comentáis y os pondremos en contacto con el STPV y con la Escuela Sindical de Formación Melchor Botella. ¿De acuerdo? Simplemente quería añadir esto a lo que Alicia ha dicho.
Bueno, com diu Helena, som un consorci que actualment representa... Són 2 consorcis en realitat. Un per l'STPB, que és el sindicat majoritari de professorat al País Valencià, i un l'escola, que és l'Escola de Formació de la Intersindical Valenciana, que representa 25.000 afiliats. El que fem en els projectes és donar aquesta possibilitat al grau mitjà. El superior sí que pot, però a través de projectes normalment propis del centre. No podeu disfrutar de la mateixa beca, no és la mateixa quantitat, és molt reduïda, però gràcies al cicle mitjà i a tot el que fem intentem que la gent que en menys oportunitats no tinga que fer la família cap despesa com pugui fer una universitat o un superior que té que fer molta més despesa d'allotjament i de necessitat. Tot s'organitza des del consorci perquè pugueu disfrutar d'uns diners ja pagat tot i uns diners de lo que és xicoteta manutenció i xicotetes despeses. I això és el que estem realitzant actualment des del 2013 al 2014, com dic, en un total de 50 centres i unes 300 mobilitats entre alumnat i professors i acompanyats anualment. Toquem tots els cicles i el que ens dona és aquesta oportunitat. Per a banda, també tenim la credencial de voluntariat per a que puguem enviar, rebre o coordinar voluntaris que puguen estar, ara ells estan 6 mesos, els anteriors estigueren 12 mesos, però poden ser mobilitats des d'un mes fins als mesos que pugues agafar. No només hi ha projectes quasi en Espanya, sinó arran de tota Europa. Per tant, sempre podeu anar navegant per el que és el CEPIE, que és l'Agència Estatal de Projectes Europeus, i per el que és el Cos Europeu de Voluntariats, el CES, que ha comentat Cristos, i a partir d'ahir anar averiguant els projectes o programes que nosaltres també anem difonent per la pàgina web. Ahí podeu veure els vídeos de les experiències de companys vostres que han participat i de la bona experiència, per exemple, en Delhi, en Northwest Academy, que feu les pràctiques allí, milloreu l'idioma i feu una inclusió cultural, lingüística i laboral, que també és molt important, perquè la majoria venen en contractes baix del braç. de l'últim projecte del 2021 que s'ha executat de març a juny d'enguany, 9 persones s'han quedat treballant en el lloc i durant la pandèmia una xica en Berlín estigué 9 mesos treballant allà en la capital d'Alemanya. Per tant, és una oportunitat que vos aconsellem que no desaprofitem. D'acord? Moltíssimes gràcies a tots i a tots per assistir, a John i als voluntaris i sobretot a Elena, al director de la xarxa.